The compact Ford Maverick looks to be a home run for the Blue Oval folks. There's a standard hybrid powertrain that gets excellent fuel economy. I saw close to 40 miles per gallon on my drive at the event in Nashville, Tennessee. But it's also available with a more powerful 2-liter EcoBoost 4-cylinder that I think deserves its own look, because sometimes the larger screwdriver is needed to get the job done properly. So why would you go with the gas-only model when the hybrid version gets such great fuel economy? Well, for starters, the hybrid is not available with all-wheel drive. And if you want to pull more than 2,000 pounds that this hybrid here is doing, you'll be going with the EcoBoost. The unibody Maverick is based on the same architecture as Bronco Sport and Escape. Notice that the cab and the bed are integrated. The wheelbase is lengthened by 16 inches over Sport. Maverick is more capable than many people might think. It'll tow stuff like this, up to 4,000 pounds. Now understand that tugging that kind of load means adding the EcoBoost at $1,100, then the 4K tow package at $745, and all-wheel drive for $3,300. So the cheapest max towing Maverick goes for $25,540. And it does the job without too much drama. I'll be really honest with you, I don't tow all that often, but I am towing a 2,700 pound Airstream, and it feels very natural. Maverick handles it just fine. Yeah, you have to brake a little bit earlier, of course, but that's your lesson in physics, kids. A reminder that max payload is 1,500 pounds across the board. The EcoBoost, that makes 250 horsepower and 277 pound-feet of torque, can be had as a front driver if you don't need all-wheel drive, just making that clear. The turbo engine shifts with an 8-speed gearbox. Control freaks should know there's no way to shift manually. There are drive modes too, which change between the front and all-wheel drive powertrains. I've driven this powertrain on the highway, and yes, accelerating from a standstill, it does have more giddy-up, but not significantly more than the hybrid, where this really shines as passing power. It's much better in that department than the hybrid. Now, I'm going to be focusing on off-roading. This is an FX4. It's not just a trim model.
It's all for capability. Comes with standard front tow hooks, an under nose shield, an under engine shield, and a carbon canister shield. A higher wattage fan and larger radiator, so higher cooling power. Standard rear hitch with 4-pin connector, rear monotube shocks, a 17-inch black wheel with Pirelli Scorpion tire, and then optionally you can get the Falcon Wild Peak tire that's about 10 millimeters wider tread width.
All right, let's see what Maverick can do. A reminder, if you're going to be doing extreme off-roading, maybe buy a Ranger Tremor or Toyota Tacoma TRD. The right tool for the right job, always good. Let's manage expectations. Ford is not set out to recreate extreme Moab conditions here. FX4 is not suited for extreme duty. So while I'm on this very easy section of the course, I'll remind you that on-road, Maverick is very comfortable, very quiet, and drives like a crossover. It would be a great road tripper, and it handles these ruts really nicely. Bumpy surfaces show that the chassis is stout. It feels beefier than hardcore truck folks might expect. A reminder that unibody has worked very well for Land Rover over the decades. One thing that the FX4 package doesn't have is extra ground clearance. It's the same as any Maverick. So far, not an issue. On all-wheel drive Mavericks, it's a decent 8.6 inches. This is like any Forest Service road, the kind of terrain that Maverick owners will probably take their rigs on. Fuel economy at an average of 25 miles per gallon for this package is not nearly as good as the hybrid, where Ford is targeting closer to 40 mpg. So all-wheel drive will cost buyers all the way around. It is pretty out here. Tennessee, you've got a nice state. While Hyundai says it's not specifically for off-roading, Santa Cruz could do this easy section. So could a Corolla if done slowly. Okay, we're coming to a rocky area. Let's see here. I think I'll go into Mud and ruts mode.
Ooh, sorry, that's a lousy shot.
One thing about off-roading and videos, it never looks as severe as it does. GoPros just don't translate it. So if you think that you can take your Honda Civic on this terrain, please call me because I would like to watch you try.
The FX4 package is $800 and only available on the mid-grade XLT with all-wheel drive. In a way, I can see this competing with something like Subaru's Forester. It's just that this has a bed.
You really do need to ask yourself, how much truck do you really need? This handles like 95% of what anybody would ever throw it at.
This is a fully automatic transmission. No way for the driver to select their own ratio. In tougher conditions, that might be helpful, but the drive modes seem to be working well.
Nice. Nicely done. Doesn't break a sweat.
For getting to the good mountain bike trails, FX4 will do you fine. Let's take a quick gander at the XLT grade interior. It largely looks the same as the top Lariat trim, just without bronze accents. All Mavericks get a navy pure colorway when it comes to the instrument panel. There is no black. The purposeful look with exposed fasteners is intended. Designers wanted an honest vibe. My video on the hybrid goes into detail, but I'll point out that there's a lot of useful storage that works especially well in Maverick's cabin, and that there's a little bit more room in here than a Ford Fusion. This one has the $2,300 luxury package that includes heated seats and steering wheel. The seats match my 501s. Anybody remember when American Motors did Levi's packages in the Gremlin? The user interface runs the Sync 3 system, not the better Sync 4. Android Auto and Apple CarPlay are standard. To be expected, the back is not F-150 roomy, but with belts for 2 average-sized adults will be plenty good here. There's room for tools and gear under the cushion. Take the headrests off, and it's possible to store small flat things, not needed all that often. Like the front door panels, these will take on tall thermal bottles. Maverick is especially flexible when it comes to storage. Again, I'll point you towards the hybrid review for more on using the flex bed that's 4.5 feet long. Now that's 6 inches longer than Santa Cruz, and it might make all the difference in the world for some owners. Flex bed might be short, but in some ways, that can be a plus. When things slide to the back of a full-sized bed, they're hard to reach.
One thing I'll point out about the bed, it's easy to reach over and grab stuff. Handy for both 6'3" guys and 5'2" women.
Small can be a distinct advantage. Let's do red light, green light, EcoBoost edition. Green lights. All Mavericks are great for everyday use, especially in the city, and on the highway the driving dynamics are refined and comfortable. The EcoBoost feels a little quicker on launch. The big difference is in passing power, much better for getting by slow RVs on 2-lane roads. The Turbo 4 can be had with all-wheel drive, and for some, that's a needed option. Plus, with the 4K tow package, it ups hauling to 2 tons for people that want to tow a small boat or camper. Yellow lights? Maverick EcoBoost starts at a low price, around $22,600 for a front driver. It can climb to Santa Cruz territory. Lavishly optioned Mavericks can rise past $37 grand. I like the utilitarian look of the cabin. Some might find it low rent. The FX4 package has some great stuff. Sadly, it's only on the XLT. Red lights. EcoBoost's fuel economy is much lower than the hybrid. I'm guessing an average of 35% using my observed efficiency and possibly 50% in the city. There's no way to select a gear manually on the 8-speed transmission, darn. And a marketing frustration. Ford keeps saying Maverick starts at under $20,000 for the less expensive hybrid. It doesn't. None of the quoted pricing includes the whopping $1,500 destination fee. It's unavoidable. But Maverick is a cruise missile aimed directly at younger buyers that need inexpensive, useful transportation. Between the powertrains and trim levels, it covers significant wants and needs for all demographics. Lower trims work and drive a class above their price points. Pragmatic buyers should find that it can tackle many tasks with ease, no need to overbuy. Maverick stands alone in class. The hybrid piece that I did has a lot more detail. One thing that I didn't cover is the first edition. That's essentially a loaded Maverick. It's a limited edition. I do like the graphics on the hood. If you want this model, it's probably too late. Maybe a dealership has one for sale. Can't imagine it would be inexpensive though. I really like the base truck and the Steelies. Many of the writers swooned over this vibe. Base trucks are cool.
Hope you got something out of my look at the gas-only version of the Ford Maverick. Pretty neat rig. Remember, I did a separate review of the hybrid powertrain. Make sure you take a look at that. It's pretty neat. The link should be coming up here anytime soon. And remember, every Tuesday I post car review videos, so join the club, subscribe, all right? That's Driven. I'm Tom Voelk.